Ever thought about how wild dating is these days? I lucked out. I met my husband at 18, but if you're in the dating game right now, let me introduce you to The League. The League is a premium dating platform that puts quality before quantity. If you're busy, ambitious, and tired of swiping through an endless stream of filtered faces, then it is perfect for you. A few months ago, I interviewed Amanda Bradford, the founder and CEO of The League, and I had such a fun time talking to her about the app and how unique it is. First up, not just anyone can join. You've got to apply and get accepted, so you'll be part of a highly engaged and safe community of like-minded, goal-oriented people like you. And instead of swiping endlessly, The League sends you personalized daily recommendations of the most compatible matches. It's like having a personal dating assistant. Now, The League isn't for casual flings or social climbers. It's for genuine folks with big dreams, career goals, and a real drive to find a meaningful long-term relationship. If you're ready to ditch dating frustration, download The League and apply today. Message #GoalDigger to your in-app concierge to jump to the front of the line. And I think that for so many of you who are super ambitious and you want to try something new, you're skipping this step and you're telling yourself, I'm just going to figure it all out by myself. But chances are, if you haven't figured it out by yourself yet, you likely aren't going to without some extra help. I'm Jenna Kutcher, your host of the Goal Digger podcast. I escaped the corporate world at the age of 23 with nothing more than a $300 camera from Craigslist and a dream. Now I'm running a 7-figure online business that feels even better than it looks, all from my house in small town Minnesota with my family. Here, we value time as our currency. We mix the woo and the work, and we are in the pursuit of building businesses that give us the freedom to live lives that we love. I've always loved turning big goals into reality, and I'm here to help you do the same. This isn't just a peek behind the curtain. Come along with me and my guests as we tear the whole curtain down. Every week, we tackle practical, no-fluff marketing strategies and host honest discussions on what works and what doesn't. Join me and my expert guests for actionable insights to help you grow your dream business with confidence. Pull up a seat and get ready to be challenged, inspired, and empowered. This is the Goal Digger Podcast. When was the last time in your life that you started something totally new that you knew nothing about? It's been a while in my life that I've been a beginner at anything. In fact, the last thing that I was a beginner at was being a mom. And that whole journey started 5.5 years ago. And this summer, I found myself as a beginner in many different things. And starting something brand new takes bravery, takes some guts. It's really funny how much can change in a year. I remember this time last year, we were taking our girls to the beach. We were driving down Park Point, and I saw this huge white building and a sign on it that said the Duluth Rowing Club. And immediately I was like, I didn't know we had a rowing club. What is this rowing club? And I went to Google and I Googled it. I landed on their website and I signed up for their email list. I was so curious. What is this rowing club and how does somebody become a member of it? To be honest, I totally forgot that I joined their email list until I got an email in my inbox this year sharing that they were having these introductory classes, these learn to row classes. And without overthinking it too much, I signed up to join. I wanted to learn something new and I wanted to get out on Lake Superior. In the beginning of June, I got out on the water with 12 strangers turned friends, and I learned how to row. It honestly has been so amazing. It's been so life-giving. It's been fun. It's brought out the inner athlete in me. And every week this summer, I've been able to jump in a boat with strangers of all different ages, of all different experience levels, and get out on the water. And if I've learned anything about being a beginner, you learn by doing and not just watching. This was also my motto when my mom and I took a sourdough class earlier this year, when Drew and I decided to become beekeepers, and when we decided to try our hand at starting our very first garden. I have so much to learn in all of these hobbies, and honestly, it has been so much fun being so curious. Of course, those little imposter feelings can always strike, and then I remember I am not an imposter. I'm simply a human brave enough to simply begin. So today, I'm going to walk you through the lessons I'm learning while I find myself being a beginner too, and most importantly, how you can invite more joy, more curiosity, and newness into your life too. You can take these major learnings and apply them, whether it is starting a business, starting a podcast, starting your email list, or finding a new hobby. Cheers to never being too old for learning something new. Let's dive on into the beginner's playbook. It's no secret that starting a business is hard. Even if you have an amazing idea, bringing it to life can be super overwhelming. HubSpot's new entrepreneurship kit is designed to help you go from idea generator to full-fledged business owner. And let me tell you, I wish I had this when I was first starting my business. This all-inclusive kit takes the guesswork out of entrepreneurship with step-by-step guides, practical resources, and easy-to-use templates. It literally walks you through every stage of starting a business and even has freelance pricing worksheets and loads more to help you get up and running immediately. Now, the best part is that it's free at hubspot.com/ENT. With expert guidance from HubSpot, starting a business doesn't have to be hard, so don't wait to start yours. Head to hubspot.com/ENT to download the free entrepreneurship kit, all from a company who knows a thing or two about growing bigger and better. That's hubspot.com/ENT. Growing a business can feel really hard, and one of the toughest parts can be figuring out which platforms you should be on. Did you know that a podcast could be your next best platform? That's right. Whether you launch your own podcast or advertise your business on other shows, there are a lot of ways podcasting can contribute to growing your business. But where do you even start? And what's the best strategy? There's a recent episode of a great podcast called This is Small Business with Andrea Marquez that's all about this. You'll learn how to think strategically about podcasting as a marketing tool, how to grow an audience, and so much more. And Andrea is joined by none other than my friend Hala Taha, the host of the Young and Profiting podcast and the founder and CEO of the Yap Media Podcast Network. So you know this episode has some great advice. It's called How Podcasting Can Grow Your Business and Increase Revenue, and you can listen to it right now. This is Small Business answers so many of these kinds of questions, like why you need an email list, how to accelerate your business growth, how good design can help increase sales, and so much more. If you love Gold Digger, check out This is Small Business, an original podcast from Amazon on your favorite podcast app. And big thanks to This is Small Business for sponsoring this show. It's so interesting because people ask me, like, what would you do if you were starting over today? And while I can give the best guesses of what I would actually do if I were to be starting my business from scratch, it can be hard. I mean, I started my business 13 years ago. So much has changed, but I have found, especially this year, that there are 5 main things that we have to keep in mind and remember when we begin anything that is new. It's really interesting because when I look at my business, so much of my business has been intentionally built to give me the type of freedom that affords me the ability to even have hobbies. I mean, even a year ago, I would have come up short if somebody would have asked me, what do you do for fun? And I've been on this quest of really figuring out who am I beyond a business owner and a mother and a wife, figuring out like, what do I love? What lights me up? And it's been really amazing being able to try new things because when I look at my business, one of the biggest blessings of it is that I've kind of built it to be this repeatable system and this rhythm. And this rinse and repeat style business has afforded me this ability to kind of have time and energy and space outside of what I'm doing for work. And so while that is amazing, it also can mean that there isn't a ton of newness. And so this year, I really wanted to unlock this freedom and explore it in new ways. You know, I love the work that I do. I absolutely love being a mom. In fact, as I'm recording this, my daughter is in my office coloring because she didn't want to be too far away from me. And it has been so much fun getting to do both of those things. But as my kids are starting to get older, I've just found that there is this deeper desire in me to try new things, to stay super curious. And it's been so fun involving the kids in those curiosities and in those new ideas and projects. So while I'm a new beginner in a million different ways, here are the main ways that I have been kind of exploring this newness. So 1, I learned how to bake sourdough. I know I am 4 years late to this trend while everyone was doing it during COVID. It took me a while to catch on. I now understand the obsession. We also planted a garden for the first time ever. I joined the local rowing club and we became beekeepers. And I noticed these trends in how I was approaching all the newness. And it was so interesting because it kind of struck me like no matter what you're doing new, whether it is something with entrepreneurship or starting a business or writing a book or whatever that is, there are some key themes and key pillars that will help you no matter what you're about to begin. And so I wanted to walk through these and kind of explain how I'm leveraging them in this new season of life and have you explore what it would look like if you were to adopt these principles and theories into your own project and newness. So the first theme was seeking mentorship. Someone can turn decades into days for you. And if you are able to invest, whether it is time, money, or energy into learning from someone who has gone before you, it is going to save you so much frustration, so much wasted time, wasted effort. And so what's so interesting to me is that for every single thing I added into my life this year, I made sure that I had a mentor. So for sourdough, I joined this weekly community ed class with my mom. Oh my gosh, we had so much fun. We met in this church basement one night for many different weeks to learn the whole technique of creating sourdough. For beekeeping, we found a local mentor who was willing to come over and advise us. He was just over the other day with his daughter, helping us out to make sure that we were doing everything right and that we were understanding exactly what was happening with our hive. For rowing, I joined a Learn to Row intro class at the local rowing club. For gardening, I took on a mentor in my friend Nicole Burke, and I read her book, and I had her on speed dial to ask her the questions that I had. If you are attempting something new, you don't have to do it alone or start from scratch. There are so many resources out there, both free and paid. What I want for you to understand is that you can find people who have gone before you and learn from them. Seek them out, leverage their experiences, make it easier upon yourself, and have somebody who is kind of shining the light into the territory that you are entering. According to a study by the American Society of Training and Development, individuals who set goals and have accountability with a mentor or a teacher have a 65% likelihood of completing their goals. When they regularly check in with their mentor, their success rate increases to 95%. I truly believe this is why I have been able to stay consistent with all of these new hobbies and to actually feel like I'm getting proficient in them. Having a mentor who is checking in with you and having that level of accountability and having that leadership is so life-changing. So make sure that whenever you are starting something new, look for the resources. Again, they can be totally free, like a podcast or a book or a YouTube channel, or paid, like an online course or hiring a local mentor to teach you. But I can honestly say, I would have never learned sourdough if I wouldn't have shown up to that class every single week to actually learn it and be able to ask questions and to have an expert guiding in that process. Same thing with rowing. If I didn't have somebody teaching me how to scull or what all the terminology was, I would have been so lost and confused, I would have never started. And I think that for so many of you who are super ambitious and you want to try something new, you're skipping this step and you're telling yourself, I'm just going to figure it all out by myself. But chances are, if you haven't figured it out by yourself yet, you likely aren't going to without some extra help. And so here's my encouragement to seek out mentorship in the things that you want to do and try, no matter what they could be. Theme number 2 that I discovered is the power in being in community. Research shows that learning within a community can significantly improve your success rates. One relevant study conducted by Stanford University found that people who pursued a goal within a community, even if it was a virtual community, were 22% more likely to achieve their goals compared to those who pursued them individually. The shared accountability, mutual support, and collective motivation within a community contribute to much higher success rates. So I was so excited to really notice, we were intentionally seeking out community in each and every single endeavor. Putting myself into these courses and settings naturally put me into communities, from a free Facebook beekeeping group for Minnesota beekeepers to a group of people in my Intro to Row class who now text weekly to get out on the water together, to meeting in that church basement to learn how to make sourdough bread with a bunch of local women of all ages. Community has been a huge factor in this. And it's been something I've been craving. It's something I've shared about many times on this podcast, how I am actively trying to pursue building our local community. And I can say we found so much success in doing so. But joining these really niche groups has been such an amazing way to be introduced to people I probably wouldn't have met without them. What's so cool is that we celebrate each other's wins. I remember coming into our sourdough class each week and we would all bring in our little starters and we get so excited for each other. And when the bread came, we would look at them, we'd inspect them together, but we were together in this shared mission. We would answer each other's questions. There were so many different Facebook groups and text threads happening where we were all together so that we didn't feel alone. And the best part is that we get to hang out together. There are real friendships being formed as we're learning something new. I think it's amazing because being a beginner can feel so intimidating. It can often feel super isolating, like you are the only one going through this. And so when you are able to put yourself in a community of other people who are also beginners, it reminds you that you're not alone, but it also makes everything feel so much more relatable as you're working towards a goal. It creates this instant bond. I think about our Learn to Row class, and there were men up in their 70s all the way down to women who were moms. And it was just such an eclectic group of people who had this unique bond while we're in a boat together. You have to learn how to trust these people and rely on each other. And it's just so cool because I think about this group and this core group of people who wanted to just learn something new together. And that feels really special. And so I would encourage you, if you're trying something new, seek out community. Having more community and expanding your circle can put you into spaces that really elevate your way of thinking, that help you to reach your goals faster, and that give that community that make you not feel isolated, but make you feel integrated into something so much bigger than yourself. So find your people, whether it is a free Facebook community, whether it is part of a paid community if you join an online course, whether it is a local community that you can join. I have just found so many benefits of being a beginner with other beginners. Is your LinkedIn profile gathering dust? If so, you are wasting a huge opportunity. LinkedIn is where you need to be if you're selling to other businesses and you're serious about driving real results. Imagine you're hosting the ultimate business mixer and LinkedIn is your VIP guest list. I'm talking about over 1 billion members, including 180 million senior level executives and 10 million C-level big shots. These are the people who can make things happen. On other platforms, it can feel like you're shouting into the void, but with LinkedIn ads, you're having meaningful conversations and building relationships with decision makers who are actually interested in what you have to offer. This is a place where people actually expect and appreciate professional outreach. LinkedIn generates 2 to 5 times higher return on ad spend compared to other social platforms, and this is why 79% of B2B content marketers say LinkedIn is their top choice for paid media. Make B2B marketing everything it can be and get a $100 credit on your next campaign. Head to linkedin.com/goal to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/goal. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring new team members used to have me nervous, but as I've grown my team, I developed my own unique hiring strategy that has allowed me to build a collaborative, powerful work culture. And a massive part of that strategy has been LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs is perfect for finding the right professionals for your team faster and for free. It's so fast that 86% of small businesses find a qualified candidate within 24 hours. And it isn't just a job board, it's where you'll find amazing candidates you won't see anywhere else. 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not on LinkedIn, you are missing out big time. I recently hired a strategic partnership manager and LinkedIn made it seamless. Posted the job and in a matter of hours, I had solid options to choose from. Brooke stood out immediately. Her experience was a perfect match and she's been hired and an amazing addition to our team. In fact, I have hired my last 6 team members using LinkedIn. It is just that easy. Join the 2.5 million small businesses that use LinkedIn for hiring. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/Jenna. That's linkedin.com/Jenna to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Theme number 3 is show up and do not quit. If you want to do something new, it requires commitment and keeping promises not only just to yourselves, but to other people. making space in my calendar to do these things and to take these things on was not always easy, but I was committed. I am someone who goes all in. I remember when I signed up for the Learn to Row class, I had to talk to Drew because, we are together, we are parenting together. And the Learn to Row class was landing right around bedtime for my kids. And it was 2 weeks long. And once you finish those 2 weeks, then you can join the local rowing club. You can row anytime you want. You have a lot more flexibility. So I had to really commit for 2 weeks to being out on the water every night from 5 to 7. And it was a challenge. It wasn't easy. I didn't want to always leave my kids at dinner time. My kids would say, "Don't go rowing, Mom." And it was hard. But at the same point too, I knew once I made it through those 2 weeks, I was done and I could join the club and be a member for the end of time. And that was the ultimate goal. And so it was interesting figuring out, okay, what does this look like? How do we honor each other's hobbies? Drew this summer joined a bocce ball league with my dad and grandpa and brother-in-law. And it has been so fun. It has taken some flexibility in our calendar to make time for that. And so we have both been encouraging one another to have time for hobbies and supporting each other in this kind of newer stage of life. I feel truly like we are getting out of the trenches of parenthood. As our kids are getting older, things are getting easier. We're starting to find a little bit more flexibility in time. And so it's been awesome as a partnership to really encourage each other to have some things that are just for ourselves. So regardless of that, the main point here is you've got to show up and you've got to not quit. Rowing is really hard. I remember before I joined the Intro to Row class, I was talking to one of my guy friends and he was like, rowing is really hard. Like it is super technical. It is super tricky. And there are so many aspects to it that even a few people in our Intro to Row class dropped out. They just stopped showing up. It was hard and it was confusing and it was challenging for a lot of us. But for me, I wanted to keep showing up, even on days where it was a little bit harder than I was anticipating, even on days when I was frustrated. I wanted to stick through and follow through on that commitment. Research has shown that you are 2 to 3 times more likely to stick with your habits if you make a specific plan with when and where and how you are going to perform the behavior. So for example, in one study, scientists asked people to fill out this sentence. During the next week, I will partake in at least 20 minutes of vigorous exercise on day, at time of day, and in place. And I've learned that research is so powerful. And so I have really had to map out time for all of these hobbies so that I know, okay, here's when I'm going to mix my bread dough. Here are the days that I'm going to bake. Here's when I'm going to get to spend time in the garden. Here's what this is going to look like. And I haven't gotten as formal as like literally scheduling it onto my Google Calendar, but I know when I am planning to get out on the water, when I'm planning to get in the garden, when I'm planning to bake, and I'm integrating it into my life. And so you have to learn how to commit. And one of the things we encourage people when they take our online courses is to literally map out the modules on your calendar so that you can see, okay, Module 1 takes 20 minutes to complete. I'm going to do this on Monday. When you do this, you are so much more likely to follow through. And so figuring out how you can show up, not quit, stay consistent can be so powerful in whatever journey it is that you are planning to begin. Commitment leads to consistency, which leads to competence, which leads to confidence. And I have followed that path so many times in my journey, and I have really been leaning on that, especially as I've been learning new things. Okay, theme number 4 is keep on practicing. I have realized how much we love immediate results. I mean, when you look at our world today, we can stream any song within a few seconds. We can go onto Netflix, watch basically any movie that we want. We can order things on Amazon or Instacart and get them almost immediately. And I think that we have gotten so used to such immediacy in our life that it can be really hard for us to continue to show up when we aren't getting the results we want right off the bat. So many people try to learn something new, but they don't stay consistent in their practice. And I remember when we were taking the sourdough class, the woman encouraged us to keep a journal. And she was like, keep a journal of what you do every single time you do it, because you're going to find that certain techniques work really well. And other times the timing might be different or things like that. And so I literally have this notebook, and in it, I will write down what time I mixed it, what time I did my stretch and folds, all these different things to try to understand what is the perfect recipe for me to bake the bread. And in keeping that journal, I've realized that like it takes so much practice, right? There will be sometimes where I make the bread, I'm like, this is the best bread I've ever made. There will be sometimes where I'm like, something is funky about this dough this time. And so keeping a journal and staying consistent and staying in the practice. I have baked every single week since I've taken that class. I bake 2 loaves every week. Our family eats 1 loaf. I bring 1 loaf to my grandpa or we give it away to a friend. And so it's just been so awesome. But in that practice, I've gotten really good. And it's interesting because I've kept in touch with people from that class and some of them barely bake. And then they're intimidated again. And all of a sudden they feel like a brand new beginner again, even though they know how to do it. When you stay in practice, you continue to refine your gifts. You don't lose those skills and you keep the confidence that keeps that momentum moving forward. Building a new hobby, sport, or activity into your rhythm and prioritizing it is the key to maintaining it and getting better. And so I have just found that staying in practice and staying consistent has been so huge. And just making sure that you are consistently driven to get better. Again, nothing is overnight. I often talk to so many entrepreneurs who look like they've had an overnight success, and you learn that it's been over a decade. And I have learned that if you want to be good at something, you must be willing to practice it. So it has been just a really interesting thing to learn and to kind of see, how am I integrating these things into my life? How am I staying consistent? And what does that practice look like? One of the things, I'm going to put this out into the world so that I follow through on it. And this, I'll share why this is important in just a minute. One of the things that I want to get back into practice is piano. And I have this amazing woman who has stayed so persistent in my inbox over the last year, who does adult piano lessons in my area. And every time she reaches out, I always think to myself, oh, now is not the right time. It'll be, reach back in a couple of months. Okay, I'll be ready in a few months. And I've recognized that I literally just need to commit to it. And once I commit to it, then I'm going to start practicing again. I keep thinking I need to start practicing and then I'll book the lessons. But guess what? That has not worked so far. And so I am committing to emailing her back and getting her on the books, because I know that once I get that on my schedule, I will build a practice around it. And I think that's so many of us, right? We tell ourselves like, well, I've got to get step A, B, and C done before I sign up for D. And it's like, if you just signed up for D, A, B, and C would naturally happen because you actually have a commitment. And so practice is so important, and integrating that practice into your life, even if it's in 10-minute increments, can make all the difference in the world and can help you stay confident as you are learning to become masterful at something new. Okay, the last theme is this, and this is why this is so important. Share the journey. A lot of times we only want to show up when we have something all perfected or figured out. I know for me, it was almost intimidating to share that I was trying all of these new things because I was just waiting for the internet to say I'm doing it wrong, or that I'm not getting it right, or that I'm never going to be successful in it. But I have learned throughout my entire process as an entrepreneur, the more that I share things, the more accountable I am to them, the more excited I am about them, and the more that I let people into my life. Like, basically, my summer has been protected as a sacred time. Obviously, we are still running the business, but I have really broken it out and been able to and been privileged to take extra time to actually have these hobbies. Doing things like a 4-day work week gives me time in my life to actually have a life, And so what's interesting is that letting people into the journey is really important to me, because I'm showing them, yeah, you can have a successful business, but you can also have a life too. And it doesn't just happen by chance. It takes a lot of intentionality and it takes a lot of support to be able to do this. I can acknowledge all of those things. But when you share your journey, no matter what journey you're starting, it helps to let others in and let them see the progress while also holding you accountable. It creates accountability while you are learning so that you do not quit. A Dominican university study found that more than 70% of participants who sent a weekly progress report to a friend reported successful goal achievement, compared to only 35% of participants who kept their goals to themselves and didn't write them down or share them. That is just if you are willing to text a friend and say, here's where I'm at with this goal. Imagine if you were to post it on the internet and 100 people saw it, or 1,000 people saw it, or 1,000,000 people saw it. You would be so much more accountable. And what I found is that when we let people into our journeys, they are so inspired. People are inspired to see someone willing to start. No matter if it translates into their life or not, they see themselves in them, even if their journey isn't the same. And so do not be afraid to share with people. And I often tell my students, when you are taking a course, share this with your audience, because guess what? If you actually implement this course down the road, you are going to be following these principles. And if people know that you're working on them, they are going to be far more likely to support them. When I started my photography business, I literally would post almost daily status updates as to what I was doing as a photographer, what new gear I was getting, who became a client, what I was excited about. And every single time I posted that, I was reminding people, hey, I'm a photographer. Same thing with these hobbies. It is holding me accountable, but it's also inviting people into the journey and letting them see I am not afraid to be a beginner. I'm not afraid to mess up, and I am trying something new. And in that, I hope that it gives people the permission to do the same in their own lives. I love my home in Duluth, and nothing beats being near family. But when it starts getting cold, we're often eager for some priceless time in the sun. And one of our favorite places to go is Scottsdale, Arizona. There's so much to look forward to in Scottsdale, like healthy food, beautiful parks, and ample places for the kids to have new adventures. Plus, one of my favorite Airbnbs I've ever stayed in. It has this amazing location that's close to everything. The decor is fabulous, has a putting green, and even a private pool that we can have heated for an evening swim. It has everything you could need for a comfortable getaway. My favorite Airbnbs feel like home. Just like our favorite escapes, your space can provide comfort and joy to guests looking for a home away from home. Whether it's your entire house or just a spare bedroom, hosting on Airbnb can help you make the most of your space and earn some extra money. You don't need much, just your personal touch. Your home might be worth more than you think. Find out how much at airbnb.com/host. Isn't it the best when you upgrade to something new, expecting it to be just okay, but then it totally blows your expectations out of the water? That's how you can feel when you switch to Mint Mobile. For just $15 a month on a 3-month plan, you can get a premium wireless plan that is much better than what you're using. For me, it is all about smart spending, finding ways to enjoy premium quality without paying a premium price. That's why Mint Mobile is amazing. It's a smart way to save on something essential, your phone bill, so that you can spend more on what really counts, like new tools for your business or that online course you've been eyeing. Mint Mobile takes the stress out of switching carriers. From the moment you sign up to the first call you make, everything just works. You don't need to start fresh. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your phone number. And the price is exactly what you expect. No hidden surprises. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/goaldigger. That's mintmobile.com/goaldigger. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/goaldigger. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on the first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. So in closing, I really want to leave you with this final thought. Being a beginner is a gift. When you are willing to embrace the new and the unknown and the challenging is where growth can happen. Whether it is picking up a new hobby like sourdough baking or learning to row or starting a garden or even venturing into something totally unique like beekeeping, remember that the journey itself is what enriches our lives. I have absolutely loved learning about things that are outside of my comfort zone. I found myself watching the movie The Boys on the Boat, which, by the way, incredible movie, also incredible book, and bawling my eyes out. And I'm like, a year ago, I would not have connected to this in the way that I'm connecting to it. I feel so passionate, so fulfilled, so excited, so curious. And I love that my kids are getting to see me explore these new things and also that we get to integrate them into our life. My kids love being out in the garden. My kids love checking on the bees. My kids love baking sourdough bread. And I think it's really important that as I expand my own hobbies, I invite my children in to explore them with me. It has become just a part of our family culture. It has become a way of life for us in so many different aspects. And it has been so fun for them to learn alongside of me. One of the things that people have said, like, if you want to learn, teach. And I found that, like, as I am teaching, my daughter how to mix the dough, I am remembering what I just learned. And so as you think about what's next for you, I want to encourage you to embrace this beginner's mindset. Approach each new challenge with curiosity, with excitement, with this willingness to just show up and be a beginner. It is never too late to start something new. And the joy and the fulfillment that you're going to find along the way are absolutely immeasurable. Thank you for being a listener of this podcast. Thank you for learning and growing and finding joy in the newness of life. Thank you for celebrating all the different rabbit trails that I go down as an ADHD person who is wildly inspired and excited by random things. And of course, until next time, goal diggers, keep being brave enough to start something new and keep on digging your biggest goals along the way. Hi there. What is your name?
My name is Coco, and I am 5.5.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about being a beginner. How do you feel when you try something brand new?
I feel like it's exciting and really, really fun.
Do you ever get nervous doing something brand new?
Yeah, because if I didn't do it yet, then I feel a little bit scared. But if I try it and it's fun, then I think it's really, really fun.
I love that. You helped me plant the garden this summer. What has been the most exciting thing about having a garden?
The most excited thing of having a garden is that you get to plant the seeds and start picking the flowers for everybody and picking yummy peas that we can eat.
We love the peas. Coco's a really good pea harvester. She harvests all the peas for her sister, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me, when we got our bees, you helped Daddy put the bees in, and they were so awesome. How did you get to be so brave at trying something brand new like that?
Well, when I was starting to put it in the frames, I got a bee sting, but it kind of hurted. But I didn't need a Band-Aid or an ice pack. I just kept on working on it.
Do you love the bees? I love the bees.
Yeah. Because it's so fun and funny because they get to make honey for us.
Yeah, it's been such a process. And whenever we go to the garden, we always yell to the bees, don't we?
Yeah.
What do we say to them?
We say, "Good morning, bees."
We'll say, "You're doing a good job." Okay, so tell Mom a little bit about making bread. You are my best bread helper. You could pretty much make it by yourself at this point, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Okay, do you remember what ingredients go into making bread?
Water,
Yep.
salt,
Yep.
powder,
Yep, the flour.
and water.
What's the sticky part called that we dump in?
The starter.
Yep, you got it. So when we make our bread, we make it once a week. Coco will help mix the dough in the morning, and then you help do the stretch and fold thing, don't you? Yeah. So what has been the best part of your summer this year?
The best part of my summer is scootering and biking and playing with my sister.
You also have been obsessed with swimming, haven't you?
Yeah. I really want to keep doing swimming lessons.
Yeah, we love swimming lessons. You've been swimming in Lake Superior. You've been swimming in a pool in Nashville. You've been swimming at Nana and Papa's house. Speaking of Nana and Papa's house, tell me about cousin camp.
Cousin camp is when all of our cousins get together and come to my Nana and Papa's house, and then we get to play and do arts and crafts. My cousins' names are Owen, Evan, and Clara. There's 2 boys and 2 girls. Clara is as old as me, 5.5, and Evan and Owen. Evan is 7, and Owen is 9.
And then we have little cousin Miles, and there's a rule for cousin camp that you have to be 2 or older to go to cousin camp. So who got to go for the first time this year?
Cohenny. It's really fun. You get to sew, you get to swim, you get to go on the tube. There's like a little tube thingy, and you get to ride on it, and it's so much fun.
And where did you guys go get ice cream?
Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
Sometimes we ride on the pontoon to Dairy Queen. We even have a lily pad. It's like a big rectangle, and we get to jump on it, and then water pours on, and then we just keep jumping on it.
Oh my gosh.
The water is really cool.
Yeah. Did you have so much fun at cousin camp?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you looking forward to starting school this year?
Yeah. School is so much fun. I have a friend, and she's 5.5, just like me.
You're going to be in kindergarten this year. How do you feel about kindergarten?
I'm a little bit scared, but a lot excited.
Yeah. That's like being a beginner, right? Like starting something new. You're going to be the oldest kid in your class, which is so cool. Any other messages? If somebody is afraid to try something new, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that be happy. It's really exciting.
Maybe you're not nervous. Maybe you're just excited, right? Awesome. Do you want to say what Mommy always says at the end of her show?
Until next time, keep on digging your biggest goals. Good luck. See you next time.
Thanks for pulling up a seat for another episode of the Goal Digger Podcast. I hope today's episode fueled you with inspiration, gave you information that you can turn into action, and realigned you with your true north in life and business. If you've enjoyed today's episode, head on over to goaldiggerpodcast.com for today's show notes, discount codes for our sponsors, freebies to fuel your results, and so much more. And if you haven't yet, make sure you're subscribed so that you never miss a future show. We'll see you next time, Goal Diggers.